guys, my name's Tammy DiTomaso. I'm part of the iWin team, also known as the Duplex Queen. I would probably say about 80% of the real estate deals that I do work on are based on duplex conversions. There's a lot involved there, so I'm going to touch on it a little bit today. Now, even though today we're going to talk a little bit about some duplex conversions, I want to make it clear that as realtors, there are a lot of other areas that we'll work in. So for myself, and it's always good to check with your realtors, but for myself, I will do single family rentals up to 4 units. Duplex conversions is what I specialize in. And then if anybody had asked me, hey, can you help me sell a house? Of course, we can do that as well. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the duplex conversions. There's a lot involved. I know there's a lot of realtors out there. You want to make sure that you're using the right person that is focused on what you're looking to invest in. So if you're looking for apartment buildings, use a realtor that's experienced with apartment buildings, because looking for an investment property and let's say to do a duplex conversion, there's so many moving parts. So you want to make sure that you're using the right realtor that knows all of that. I'm going to break that down a little bit for you today. As a realtor, we want to make sure that not only are we finding you a really good property, we want to take into consideration the purchase price of the house. We want to make sure we're running those numbers. We want to know, is that a great location? What kind of tenants am I going to be able to get for this type of property in this area? What kind of rents am I going to be able to get? How do those numbers look, and what are my renovation costs going to be? So if you look back at some of our previous videos, I did one where we were talking about the numbers and I show you the cash flow calculator that we use. So you're welcome to look back at that and we can talk a little bit more about that. Or anybody who wants to reach out, we're happy to help anywhere we can. But what's really important when it comes to the duplex conversions is knowing the bylaws. They do differ from city to city. So you want to make sure that you're very familiar with those. Some of the big ones that we look for are our parking. Zoning, we want to make sure parking works. Our zoning to make sure that we are able to do a duplex. Does it have a side entrance or a separate entrance? Maybe a walkout in the back. How are they going to be getting into that unit ultimately? The square footage, if that's a requirement from your city, as well as ceiling and ductwork height. So you want to make sure that you know all of those. And then there's a lot of other moving parts, like I said. So do we have an egress window? Where are we going to place that? What does our layout look like? Because we have so much experience, we want to be able to have some input and help you out. Does it make sense to have a 2-bedroom? Does it make sense to have 3 bedrooms in the basement? So we can help with all of that. Are we going to do 2 panels when it comes to our electrical panel? Do we want to have separate meters or not? There's quite a few properties sometimes that a client will send to me and will say, hey, will this work for a duplex conversion? And like I said, there's so many moving parts to it. So for example, let's say parking being one of the big ones in Hamilton. Hamilton doesn't allow tandem parking. So we need to make sure that it's going to allow us to have the parking spots we need. There's so many other parts to it where do we have the right measurement from the front of the house or whatever bumps out, maybe a set of stairs to the property line, from the side of the house to the property line? Is there a tree on the property? If there's a tree on the property and it belongs to the city, on the city side of the property, then they don't want you to go ahead and start digging into the ground where you could damage possibly some of the roots, and you might have to get in touch with the land and forestry department. So again, those are a lot of things that we're going to be looking out for when we're looking at these properties to make sure that it meets the right criteria. Zoning is the right zoning for the properties that we're going to be needing, and making sure that, again, the ceiling height, that's going to be our building code. So we need to make sure that it passes all of those requirements and bylaws so that we can have this conversion done smoothly and properly and how we need it to run. As your realtor, I want to make sure that you have the right type of property for what we're looking to do. And a big factor comes into our tenants and what our rents are going to look like. We work with other investors, other realtors as well. We have hands-on to know exactly what we're seeing in rents. So this isn't something where we just look up in Kijiji and say, oh, look at this is what the rent they're getting. That doesn't tell us specifically. We go by experience with what our clients are getting. Maybe they're pushing the envelope a little bit and so on. That's okay. But I need to know exactly with what city I'm working in, how many bedrooms, what's the square footage, what's the finishes like, and what kind of rents they're going to pull in for a 2-bedroom, for a 3-bedroom, and so on. So that really allows us to be able to give you the exact numbers that you would be looking at. Again, we always do run everything a little bit conservatively, and I think that's very important. When we're helping you run your numbers, I always say it's very important for you to run your numbers your way because everyone does do it differently. But I also want to make sure that you're not stopping yourself from being able to invest because you're just maybe a little bit too conservative. So I want to make sure that it's very important to be conservative. I like to do that as well. I don't want to make any extra promises, but at the same time, what I know what we're going to get for rents, I know what we're going to get for our refi, or at least a good range and a good number that we can feel comfortable moving ahead and making this purchase, and we know that it's going to be successful. We have tons of clients that have been through this where they started off with one property and then we've gone ahead, we've done the renovation, we've done the tenant fills, the tenant placements, we've done the refinancing, and then we've pulled that money out, put it into the next property, and that's how it snowballs. And that's why so many people like this BRRRR strategy and being able to do these duplex conversions, as well as knowing the renovation costs that might need to happen on the main floor, and what are those costs going to look like, and where are we going to put the laundry. So there's a lot of parts, again, that we'll be able to go in. When we sit down with you guys and we have our one-on-one, that's when we can talk a little bit more in depth. But when we actually get out there and start looking at the properties, it's so much easier to visualize and say, okay, this is where we're going to do this, and this is how we have to measure this, and this is what we're looking for here. And then you get that real hands-on experience, and where you can learn a lot so that you'll know even for the next time what you're going to be doing. We like to pride ourselves in knowing that we can be that one-stop shop for you. So we do have quite a large Rolodex of contacts that we can use, that we like to give to you guys as well. And these are not people that pay us. These are people that we use. These are people that we trust. These are people that we want to refer to you if you need them. So going to contractors, handyman, accountants, property managers, mortgage brokers, you name it, we want to be able to help you and have somebody with whatever it is you're going to need, even later after you buy the property, after you close on the property, after your conversion's done. Sometimes you might need to call and say, hey, I need someone for this or that, and we want to make sure that we're that one-stop shop. We have someone that we can refer to you for all those aspects, because again, purchasing a property for a duplex is so much more than just finding the right house in the right location and checking the numbers, but having a team that's going to be behind you to help you with the whole process and turn it into other properties down the road, of course. The other thing, going back to having the right realtor working for you, you want to make sure that you have somebody with the right experience, not just with the city and knowing the house and the location, but what are the expenses? What is that renovation going to cost? Can you break it down for me? What are those rents going to be? And again, what are the refi numbers going to look like? We talked about that in other previous videos. So making sure that you know what those refi numbers or have a good idea will allow us to be able to run our numbers more effectively so that we can know if we're making a really good purchase. The other thing I just want to add is that we do a free training webinar that you're welcome to join. It's free. You can go to any of our website and sign up for any of our upcoming events. And that's where we'll talk about real estate and investing and what works for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content.
Thank you for watching. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy that I personally use in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/YouTube to register for our next class. The link is also in the description as well. I publish at least 2 to 3 videos a week here, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. And if you're just starting out, feel free to ask questions and comment below, and I do the best to answer each of those comments and questions myself. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing from a professional investor, register for our next virtual class. That's at investortraining.ca/YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.